Well, good evening, welcome to The Last Tackle. We're taking the show on the road. It's the international break, of course. England versus France at the weekend. So we're here at Robin Park, England's home for the next few days before they travel across to build up to that one. Alongside me, Kyle Amor. And Kyle, before we talk England and International Rugby League, just some key bits to kind of recap on from the weekend. And we'll start headingly the tribute to Rob Burrow. A really emotional night, but really well done by Leeds, Sky, Lee Leopards as well, have to get a mention.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Look, everybody played their part in what was such a sad night, but a celebration of Rob's life. And I thought Sky nailed it. I thought the way they put it on the pre-game, all the interviews, getting all the ex-players over, as many of them possible coming over. Some of them flying as far from Australia, New Zealand. Danny Badiris, Ali Lawatiti. Legends and icons of that golden generation that played alongside Rob and won so many trophies and made Headingley such a happy place for a lot of people. Of course, that's his rugby league career, but what he was able to do in terms of raising the awareness of MND. Now I think everybody across the country is familiar with such a horrible and devastating disease, and he spoke in his time of his illness. He spoke about leaving a mark on the disease. Well, I think it's fair to say he'd done that. So, a super night to be a part of and a celebration of a great man.
Yeah, he certainly did leave his mark. In terms of on the field for Leeds, myself, Kev and Eddie spent most of last week's show talking about the coaching situation, whether to stick or twist with Rowan Smith. 20 minutes after we were out of the studio, they announced that he'd left the club. A real kind of interesting time for them.
Well, Lewis, we'd spoke about that all year, about Rowan Smith and the job that he had, and perhaps the lack of performances. Was always pressure on Rowan Smith right from the off, really, wasn't there? With that spine that he had, the amount of money they'd spend, but it just hasn't clicked. It hasn't worked for them for whatever reason, whether that is down to players playing under instruction or perhaps a lack of instruction. We don't know, but the club has parted ways, and the question mark is who is going to fill in that. It's such a big job, a massive club, one of the biggest in the game, and it's important for Super League to have a strong Leeds, I do believe. So but look, they managed to get the win, an 18-10 win. Is that the time where Leeds Rhinos can maybe take off and do what they've promised to do? I don't know yet.
Well, one of the names that keeps getting mentioned with every big vacancy at the moment is Paul Rowley, and on the evidence of the weekend, you can understand why. His Salford team seemingly up on bricks with the size of the squad and the injuries and the players out, and somehow just keep pulling out big results against big teams.
Exactly, you nailed it. He is the hottest name in rugby league. A British coach as well. I'd like to see Paul Rowley take that job. I think for Paul Rowley, he spent an awful lot of his coaching career. Obviously he's been at Salford now a couple of seasons, but the majority of his coaching career has actually been in the Championship. So the progression that he's made on his coaching path, and I'm sure there's ambitions for Paul Rowley to one day get to a top club. Whether the time's right for him or not right now, I don't know that. I certainly think that it is. I think, if he goes to Leeds and he gets that job, we're here at England's International Training Week. Who's to say that Rose can't end up being a successor for Sean Wayne in years to come? A quality coach, and what he's been able to do, given the tight budget that he's had, has been remarkable.
Just the flip side, to kind of add some balance to this, obviously he's still at Salford. Yeah. He's not expressed any interest himself in taking the job, and he may well feel the way that the things that are going at Salford. Let's not forget, grand finalists in 2019, Challenge Cup finalists, very, very close a couple of years ago to making the grand final. Yeah. There's a project at Salford to be had there. There's a real opportunity for him to do something special with the club that he's already at. Yeah, no, definitely. Look, I have to be honest, and I do say that, players and coaches at times will. A club like Salford is always going to be a bit of a selling club. I know that sounds crazy given what they're doing at the moment, and believe me, that squad that they've got right now, I don't feel that if they get into the playoffs, I don't think they'll be frightened of anybody. I think they've already shown enough evidence this year that they fully believe that they could go on and get to a grand final. I think fans across the game can't quite classify Salford as a big club yet. They appear to be chopping half the trees around us down in the background, so apologies for that coming through. Let's move on to England. England versus France this weekend. We're obviously here at Robin Park. A mid-season international. Look, a lot gets said about these games, a lot gets said about the quality of the opposition. We are where we are. You can't really go and play Australia in a mid-season international on a whim. This is the best opportunity Sean Wayne's going to have ahead of that Samoa series to get a squad together and have a real look at a few players.
Yeah, no, look, it's about that continuity, it's about building combinations, getting people familiar with the England way, the England setup. You know, we've seen this week a number of debutants come into that squad. Whether they get picked for the 17 remains to be seen, but it's important for those players to, like I say, experience the elitist environment, build combinations, and you know, look, they play France this week. I think a lot of us would have to agree that it should really be an England win, whether that again materialises or not. But the bigger picture is getting the players together, getting them prepared, getting them used to environments and getting them ready for those tests that are coming later on. You know, Samoa at the end of the year will be a difficult test as well.
There's no doubt France have some very, very good players, and the different dynamic this year, which I'm sure Sean Wayne will be quietly very happy about, is England have got to do the travelling.
Yeah.
There's that element to it as well.
Yep.
Playing France in France, but also that experience of being in camp together, travelling together. That's really important when you look at Ashes tours and World Cups down the line.
Yeah, definitely. I think going to France again, you're right, it presents a different challenge, one that many of these England players haven't yet to do as a team, go over to France representing England. But, you know, the players are well equipped with that, Lewis. They do it week in, season out, you know, whether that had been, you know, going to Catalan or going to Toulouse when they were in the Super League. So I don't think that part will faze them. But I think you're dead right. I think the time together, the time to gel, you know, a lot of these lads who are coming into this squad for the first time are still relatively young. You know, the benefit of England is long term as well with weeks like this. Put my teeth back in.
Well, Sean Wayne has named his squad, as you mentioned. There are some new names in there, but one regular face, of course, St Helens and England fullback Jack Welsby. Me and Carl caught up with him just a few minutes ago. Yeah, alongside us now, England fullback Jack Welsby. Jack, mid-season internationals, I'd imagine any opportunity to pull the England shirt on is one that you chomp at the bit for.
Yeah, definitely. I think obviously this is something you underline when you see the calendar at the start of the year. I think the French test last year was we had a good result and had a good week in camp, and obviously it's a bit different from your day-to-day life at Saints as well. I think coming away, meeting some new people, some new ideas sort of thing, it does freshen you up going into the back end of the year.
Carl, you've known this man for a long time. Was there ever any doubt he'd be wearing an England shirt one day?
No doubt whatsoever. You know, his quality shone through the moment that he walked through the door at Saints in the first team, and you know he's gone on to have a stellar career both at club and country. But Jack, I want to ask you just touched on it there about getting away from Saints and the day-to-day grind of that. How important is that for not only yourself but for the rest of the playing group? Almost to park that season, walk away from that for a week, and just get on, dare I say, a bit carefree.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's massively important, especially for myself. I find it like re-energising me almost. I think obviously we're going to have a tough game against France this year over in Toulouse, and in this weather it's not going to be easy, but it's something that, like I said, I do underline and think, right, that's halfway there, we're halfway done. And whether the lads are going off on holidays or sort of parking it for a week, I think it's a good thing for everyone.
And you mentioned some of those new names. Who are you looking forward to see out of this new crop of players that's come through the door this week?
Well, my obvious one's George Delaney. I want to see how he goes. I think he deserves his call-up. He's someone that I knew Wayne he'd like as soon as I seen him play. He's tough. He goes hard, doesn't he? He just doesn't really have much respect for his body. But other than George, I think Elliot Minchella probably deserves a shout. I think he's been knocking on the door. I think with people like Victor Radley and Morgan Knowles, it's obviously going to be hard for him to get in consistently, but I think he deserves his chance, and every time you play against him, he throws something up in that middle that does cause some problems. So as a spine player myself, it's someone I'm looking forward to playing with.
I think the interesting thing about this one, obviously these mid-season internationals have been a relatively consistent fixture in one guise or the other, whether it be France or the Combined Nations in the last few years, but the distinction this time is that you're obviously travelling across the France, and I know it's only France, I know you guys do it regularly with the Catalans trip in the Super League anyway, but does that add an extra layer to this in terms of kind of that experience of being in camp around each other and the kind of process of doing that for when tours come further down the line?
Yeah, I think so. It's something I've not actually done with England is go away as an England team. Obviously, like you said, we've done plenty of trips as Saints to Catalans and Toulouse and stuff like that. But it's going to be something new. Obviously, flying with these set of lads and seeing how they get it sorted logistically. I don't know what we'll be doing just yet, but it should be good. And I think obviously last year when we played France in that test, we blew them away. But I think I can't see that happening this year. I think they've got a right team. I think they've got from 1 to 13, they've got stars. So like I said, we're going to have to be on our game and we're going to have to play well.
Yeah, Jack, you just mentioned there about something that you haven't done before, but 2023 or 22, the World Cup, you made your debut for England, and you've now, surprisingly, but given your age, you're almost taking a bit of a senior role on at international level. What kind of advice do you, or what do you feel that's important for you to get across to the messages like your Jez Litton, Sam Wood, Elliot Minchella, who perhaps haven't been in this environment?
I think just do what you've done to get here. I think obviously you mentioned Elliot there, he's captain at his club. I'm pretty sure Jez will be a senior player, Sam Wood will be a senior player at their club, so they don't have to come in here and reinvent the wheel. And probably coming in here, you probably do a bit less than you would do at your club. I think you've got to almost relax, not take a step back, but you've got better players around you at international level, so you can sort of do a little bit less in training, stay fresh and be ready to go, but most importantly enjoy it. I think coming into camp, if you get it right, and every camp I've been involved with Wayne and that we have got right, so it can be the best time of your life. So if you do it right, which we will do, I'm pretty sure with who we've got here, we'll enjoy it.
You're obviously trying to impress your coaches at a domestic level week in, week out. Is there a kind of different element, especially for some of those younger lads this week? Because obviously you don't get a huge amount of time together as England. We've got Samoa on the horizon, Ashes tours further away, World Cups after that. It's a real golden opportunity for certain players to impress Sean and his staff, isn't it? Yeah,
definitely. I think everyone's still under limelight for the end of the year. I'm not banking on being in there. I've got to go out there this week and perform. George Williams as captain will be wanting to perform well, so everyone's sort of putting that pressure on themselves, but I think the best way to deal with that is by relaxing and just focusing on doing your job, not going out there particularly to impress Sean. It's sort of relax, do your job, be a good person around camp, be respectful, all the things that get thrown up a lot, and if you do that, I'm pretty sure Wayne will like you and you won't be far off the team.
You mentioned as well about kind of Elliot Minchella being in that spine, but potentially that spine that lines up at the weekend is going to have 4, 5 different clubs represented in it. How important is that time together for you guys, again, with those kind of extra fixtures on the horizon?
Yeah, definitely. I think your spine's probably the most important part of your team, especially your 7 and your 6. So to get as many repetitions and games under your belt as a spine, it's pretty important. And I think it's going to be better for us this year, like I said, with the test that we're going to have against France. It's not going to be simply just run shape and we're going to score. It's going to be a tough game. We're going to have to get them in a grind, play physical, play tough, and then execute off the back of that. So yeah, like you said, it's important that we do get them reps under our belt, and hopefully we get the chance to do that this weekend.
Yeah, besides the win, Jack, which is obvious. If you want to go over there, of course you want to win the game. But what do you think or what is the message for this week in terms of the whole overview of it? Yeah, you want to go and win. I understand that. But what's the bigger picture for this England group this week?
Yeah, we're building. I think, me personally, I just want to win. I don't want to lose at all. That was my first initial thought when I came in this morning, was looking at the players that we should go over there and win. And like I said, I want to enjoy it. That's why I come here to England. I think if you're not enjoying it, you're doing something wrong. So obviously, I know you said there's a underlying thingy that we want to go and win and prepare for Samoa, but let's just tick this off first. That's my first thing. We've got to beat these. And
well, I'm going to jump in and ask you about, look, you'll tell me that you can't look further than this week. I understand that, but the prospect of playing against Samoa, the team that you got your first England cap against, and we all know how that day went. It was a demolishing from England. What are you most excited about that part of the season coming up against Samoa again?
Well, we own one really. I think they've obviously got that one over us in the semi-final. It's probably the worst defeat I've had in my career. Worst feeling anyway, definitely, and it took some getting over. And we've still got the fundamentals of that squad are still knocking about here. Obviously, all have different experiences of that game, but we can all remember it in the same light, that it didn't feel good. So we want to sort of, like I said, build for that this week, and then at the end of the year, that when that comes round, we've got to be on, because they're a good side, and I think they're just improving as a nation as well.
Well, Jack, best of luck at the weekend and this week in camp as well. Thank you for joining us. England versus France on Saturday, mid-season internationals. Never gets much better than seeing England in action, does it?
it's very, very late when that third man's going back here, it goes open, change your number. Or else it dictates when it goes open or not. Just make sure you're up, ready, on side, ready to go. You'll have some success then. It's not going to rain, I don't think. I don't think. So it looks like it's going to favour us this today. So looking to play them short sides is real important. All good.
If I catch it for that first one, and then as we're laying second, just get straight there for after.
Absolutely. I want us to execute. I want us to play today. All right.
Yeah, Jack Welsby, a superstar of this competition, of course, one of the highest profile players we've got. Great to see him in an England shirt again. Kyle, I remember having a conversation with you about Jack a few years ago, and you said he's like an old man in a 20-year-old's body, or however old he was then. And you joke about it, but he's so grounded and so kind of, it's so easy to forget he's still so young.
It is, and the success that he's had along the way. I've been around players where, you know, some of that success has perhaps got to the head a bit, and the careers have been affected later down the line for those reasons, but not with Jack. You know, he's like we said in the interview there, as soon as he came through the door at first team rugby for Saints, you just knew that the boy was special, and what he's been able to do and carry quite a lot of pressure on his shoulders as well. Let's not forget that Shaun Wane, so muchly highly thought of, Shaun Wane gave him the England captaincy last year at such a young age. You know, I don't think it had been handed out for anyone that young since Kevin Sinfield, and you know what, he didn't miss a beat, did he? You know, as England captain, he took that mantle on, and I thought he was exceptional. But yeah, you know, for a lot of young players out there, you know, it's not even just about your quality, it's about what you are as a person, and there's no wonder why Jack has been given captaincies and filled in at captaincies for club and country. Such a talent.
How important is he from an England perspective? Because I think there's an interesting kind of transition going on. Obviously, the disappointment of that World Cup, there were some older players in there that have since hung up their boots, whether that being altogether or just internationally. That series against Tonga was really important last year, I think, to just restore a little bit of faith in the shirt and Shaun to kind of rally his troops. Now he's looking at players like Jack, Harry Smith, Mikey Lewis. He's got a core of young players that he can build the next 5-6 years around. How important will those kind of names be?
Well, as soon as you rattled off all those three names, I half laughed, because that is something, you know, to whet the appetite. Those three players are all in quality form, aren't they? Mikey Lewis, I think he's amazing to watch. I absolutely love watching Mikey Lewis. Harry Smith, again, you talk about older players inside young people's body. Well, Harry Smith seems to operate like he's been playing for 15 years at Super League level. But you know, Harry Smith, one of the best kickers of the ball, in fact, probably the best kicker of the ball that we've got in the British game. So with that, you've got some real excitement and something to really build off. You know, if we can get the forwards playing like the pack of old that you mentioned, and the new exciting wave of front rowers that are coming in, you know, there's the platform for England to go on and have some success.
You mentioned, rightfully so, to Jack, that the important thing on Saturday from an England perspective is win. They're expected to do that. 2 games against Samoa on the horizon. A lot of these players, I'm sure, will play it down and say they're just focused on this week and just focused on Saturday. But how can you not be thinking about that and an Ashes tour?
Well, look, I've no doubt there's a couple of players in that environment that are excited. They're excited and proud to be here this week, and they'll be wanting to get out there and making sure that they represent themselves, the club, the families and all the mates, that they're now an England player. But there'll be an awful lot of those players who'll be wanting to make sure that they show Shaun Wane and Andy Lass their very best front foot forward for that game. You know, there is no other game after this. So coaches always they always look to players that they can trust in big games, and you know, by you handling yourself this week and by you nailing your role this week, it certainly puts you in a good stead for that at the end of the year, when perhaps there might be some of the NRL contingent over playing against Samoa. It makes these guys who are playing this week, well, they're in the shop window, aren't they, Lewis?
Well, one of those players in the shop window, looking to put a claim down for a shirt at the end of the season. He's had an absolutely brilliant year for Hull KR. He'll be hoping to put in another brilliant performance at the weekend. It's Elliot Minchella. Yeah, mid-season international is always exciting. It's an exciting squad as well. Shaun Wane's put together a few debutants in there. One of them alongside me now, Elliot Minchella. Elliot, when that phone buzzed, you got the phone call saying that you were in the England team. What was that experience like?
Immensely proud, yeah. But I didn't expect it. It was a goal of mine, obviously, to be involved in this sort of thing. But you never expect it. You never know when how close or how far away you are from being in these conversations. And excitement as well. Really looking forward to the week ahead. Just gonna learn off the people around me, off the teammates, the coaching staff, and make the most of it. Yeah, enjoy it.
And I know as players, silverware, things like that, the things that really matter. But how nice is it to have your club form rewarded with something like this?
Yeah, definitely. It's obviously, like I said, it's just an immensely proud moment, really, for myself in my career. It's the pinnacle of our game is playing for your national team, and it's a massive honour. But yeah, I'm really excited, really looking forward to the week, and not let it pass me by. Yeah, just take it all in, enjoy it, and be a better player for it, a better person.
And obviously we're at the beginning of the week, so you won't have had kind of too much opportunity to get to know your new teammates yet, but how much of an exciting thing is that, coming into camp and getting to play with different players and just experience a different side of the game?
Yeah, definitely. We've just only been in an hour or so, but even just looking around the changing rooms and seeing the quality around me, the talent in the room is unbelievable. So just make the most of that. Enjoy playing with these quality players, and if I can help add to that, then I will do, and really look forward to it.
Are you conscious as well as one of the new call-ups that you're perhaps playing for a shirt later on in the year for that Samoa series?
Maybe so. I'm not sort of thinking that far ahead. I'm just looking forward to Saturday and then the week. But those sort of things will look after itself if you do the right thing. So just narrow my focus, and then that's probably on taking each day as it is. Enjoy the training sessions, but give my all. Enjoy being here and express myself, and take each day as it is. And then if I'm lucky enough to play on Saturday, then do the same thing and do my job.
It's two different looking squads to when they met last season. Obviously it was quite one-sided, but there's different kind of feel to this, isn't there? Going to France and playing France over there, you're going to have to be at your best.
100%, yeah. I saw they've picked a really strong squad, which I think is great. Yeah, it's how it should be, isn't it? I think it's a test match, so it's the best against the best from France and the best from England. So I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's good for the game, it's good for the international game, and it's good for us players. Playing against the best that the French have.
Have you managed to get family, friends over for it?
Yeah. My missus is going over with my daughter, and my dad, his partner, godparents are going out. So yeah, I've got a few people going out there. So I'm buzzing for them. I hope they have a really good weekend and enjoy it, and then I hope they're proud as well.
Well, enjoy the week. Best of luck at the weekend. England versus France, a famous old rivalry in any sport, of course, and it continues this weekend.
Control of my kicking game, energy.
Organisation, eyes up.
Yeah.
Just whether you feel in here, what you did when you were 12 and 14, 16, it will be better here because you've got better players. So just have a dig. Yeah. Just don't be scared of trying things.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, all good.
This is poetry in motion, and now it comes back to Smith, who drills a kick, really catches it, juggles it for good measure, has it up for the try line, and he's there to score.
Yeah, Elliot Minchella there. Kyle, as I kind of referenced to Elliot, trophies, medals, those are the kind of things that players really care about. But you'll have experienced this as a player, that when you get kind of individual recognition with stuff like this as well, that must be really special for you.
Yeah, I think it's the highest compliment that you can get, isn't it? Being selected for your country. And Elliot Minchella, another one of those players that come in here on merit. I think what he's been doing at Hull KR, not only this year, Lewis, even last year, I think his ability to sort of link forwards up with backs and the variety that he has in his carry, a club captain and a genuine leader. So it makes perfect sense to take a look at Elliot Minchella on the international stage.
You experienced international football with Ireland, of course. How good is it being in camp? Because as someone who's never done it, it always looks like a lot of fun.
Oh, we had a great time. It was talk about those building those combinations, that camaraderie. But it's important as well. When it's on and when training's on, you're serious, and when game days, you're serious. But the rest of the time, enjoy it. Enjoy it because it doesn't come round all the time, and enjoy everything that comes with it. The pressure, the hype. The off-field stuff. If the boys go on and get a win on Saturday night, Lewis, I've no doubt that they'll share a few beers in the hotel. Enjoy all those moments because again, they don't come round too often.
I'm very conscious, have been throughout this week, of not being too disrespectful to France. I expect it to be closer than perhaps we've seen in previous years, especially because of where it's being played. But from an England perspective, what do you want to see on Saturday?
Great question, Lewis. I mean, look, naturally, I'd like to see a ruthless mentality. I'd like to see them, attack everything. I think the quality that they've got in there, they have the ability to blow France away if they really want it, and they don't mess about as such. But again, that's not disrespecting France. France in their own backyard, and what Catalan have been doing, and Toulouse, and I'm sure if we flipped it round and we stepped into the French camp, imagine what they're saying. They're coming to our backyard. We're going to meet them physically. So I'm expecting a physical game, but know, I'm expecting moments of brilliance from Mikey Lewis, Jack Welsby, the usual suspects. And yeah, I think, you know, the opening quarter will be very, very physical. But I think, you know, England can only go about this one way, and that for me is just attack it and attack it with speed.
Just one more point I'd like to raise before we wrap up. We've spoken a lot about what this experience will be like for the players and all of that kind of stuff, but International Rugby League, England playing away in International Rugby League, we're obviously in the middle of the Euros at the moment. There's thousands of England fans out there enjoying it. That, you know, a real kind of lifetime experience for them. When you watch like 2007 Great Britain versus Australia and the amount of Great Britain fans in the stand and stuff like that, I'm sure England will be well backed on Saturday. For fans as well, these are the games that just add that little bit of kind of added flavour, don't they? And just that kind of added experience to being a rugby league supporter.
Yeah, and look, you know, historically, a lot of the clubs when they go over to Catalan to lose, you know, they send an awful 1,000, 2,000 over, whatever it may be. But you're right, Lewis. It's a special occasion for fans to enjoy as well as players. And you know what makes fans most happy is going over there, going to a different environment themselves, and watching players that they're all invested in as well. But listen, it makes it an awful lot better if they come away and get the result, obviously, and a strong, solid England performance will certainly make all those fans, you know, over in France that make the trip happy.
Right, Kyle, thank you for joining us. I'll let you get away in this weather. I bet you're itching to get on the golf course, aren't you? We've been starved of this, haven't we, this year? It'll be a warm one, I think, as well for England on Saturday, but a real good test for Sean Wayne and his side to get out there, get together, put together 80 minutes of rugby league, and of course we are looking ahead to that series in October against Samoa. But right here, right now, England versus France on Saturday. We'll be back next week with the last tackle. We'll see you then.